Yo, what is going on, my dudes? Welcome to another RuneScape news coverage video. For this video, we're going to be talking about things that are going to be changing to the drop tables when the mining and smithing rework ends up going live. So without any further ado, let's just jump right into the video. Let's go! Alright guys, so Jagex just did a live stream where they went and did a Q&A while in the beta for the mining and smithing rework, and they answered some of your questions. And for this video, we're going to be talking about what they talked about in regards to drop table changes that are going to come to monsters who drop mining and smithing related supplies as, you know, they're part of their drop tables. So before we get started in that, I really want to talk about the spring cleaner first. I have talked about this in the past, but I just want to clarify. Since the bulk of the way you make money on spring cleaner is breaking down things like rune items for the ores, etc., it's going to take a huge hit with this because those are no longer going to be on the drop tables of the monsters that you would normally take the spring cleaner to. So they are very aware of this and they really want to change it and still make it viable. They don't know exactly what they want to do yet, but they said that whatever they end up doing, definitely do not want to make it so they are gonna, or the spring cleaner is going to be producing any more raw materials. So they really do not want to keep the same functionality as it does now. However, they are going to make something for it that'll make it viable in some sense. Might not necessarily be as good as it is now, but they do want to at least make it have some sort of use. So just bear that in mind. Hopefully they do it right and it's not a completely useless item, but just bear in mind that there is something in the works. We don't know as of right now, but at least they're looking at it. That being said, in case you don't know, Jagex plans to make mining and smithing resources only come from those skills, which means that they're going to be removing anything associated with those things from PVM drop tables. That includes alchables like rune items, bars, and ores. So all of those are going to be removed when mining and smithing update launches. Now you might be asking yourself, will that hurt the prices or the overall GP per hour for those monsters who really rely on those kinds of things? Yes, it would. So Jagex is aiming to replace those things to make them at least the same GP per hour as the current live versions in the game. So they're going to do that one of two ways at least. It's not entirely set in stone that this is what they're going to go with. They're spitballing, but it is likely that they're probably going to go with some version of what we're going to be talking about in a second. If you have any concerns or you think they could be done better in a different way, I suggest hitting up any of the JMods who are working on the mining smithing rework through Twitter, Reddit, etc. So anyways, first up, when it comes to the alchable items, things like your rune plate bodies, etc., they're going to replace it with a similar item that's going to hold the same alch value and will disassemble for the same components in regards to invention. So for example, they said that you might come across, instead of a rune plate body, you'll get a ruined rune plate body, where by and large it's going to work pretty much identical to a rune plate body in the sense of it's going to have the same alch value and it will disassemble into the same components as it would with a normal rune plate body. However, it could not be equipped, and essentially it is useless outside of those two purposes, which I think is actually a really good way to do it. They don't really have to create new drop tables at all. They could just replace current ones with these fake versions of items, and you could still sell them to people because they'll still hold that alch value and they'll still have those disassembled components, so they won't hurt the injection of invention components coming into the game at all, seeing as these things will provide a replacement for what we currently have on the drop tables. So that's basically how they're going to be handling alchable items, which I think, like I said, is a really good way to do it. So how are they going to be handling bars and ores specifically? So basically the thing that they have proposed is they're going to be replacing it with a tradable tiered token item. So it's going to be tiered, like I said, based on, you know, whatever monster you're going to have. You're going to have different tiers of these tokens, whether it be like the adamant tier, rune tier, Dracolith, so on and so forth. And these tokens are going to be, like I said, tradable, so you can just sell them to other people as you get them for PVM. And they're going to provide various bonuses, which they still haven't figured out entirely what bonuses they have. They have one, which I'll talk about in a second, but it could have various other different bonuses like XP boosts potentially, maybe. We'll see in the future, but these are going to be benefits that are going to work specifically for mining and smithing. So at least PVMers are going to still supply the skillers with some useful benefits. The example that they showed off that one of these tokens might do is, for example, if you happen to get like a rune ore token, if you were to take that token and then go mine rune ore with it, whenever you got a rune ore, the token would be consumed, and instead of getting one rune ore, you'd get an additional rune ore. So in a way, PVM will kind of be injecting supplies for mining and smithing, but indirectly, because you'll still have to do the mining and smithing work in order to have access to those things. Essentially, it's dummy items that don't have any practical use until you apply them to the mining and smithing skill, which I think is a really good way to do it. PVMers could just sell these off to the skillers, and skillers don't even have to use this if they don't want to. It's just an added benefit, and the additional ore benefit is just one of several benefits to be discussed at a later date. I also think this is a good way of doing it, or a good way of handling the bars and ores, while it still provides a money outlet for PVMers who just want to fight these monsters that drop these things in various quantities that we currently see now, while still making use for mining and smithing, in the sense that instead of taking away resources from miners and smithers that it currently does now, it actually adds or gives back to the miners and smithers. So let me know what you guys think about this. Before I sign out, I just want to let you know that there is going to be another mining and smithing beta in the future before this ends up going live in the final build, which is going to include various other things like potentially auras, familiars, artisans workshop, things of that sort, with the second beta. I don't know when that's going to be launching, but they said it's going to probably be much closer to the actual launch of the updates. So that means that they won't, by that point, be able to change things dramatically from what you see in that second beta. So just keep that in mind. They'll be able to tweak minor things, but it's not like by that point they'll be able to do major overhauls. So I will be keeping my ear to this and make sure I'll be able to give you the information of when we can look forward to that second beta. But until then, that's it for the video. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button. If you're not subscribed yet and you want to stay updated on all things RuneScape related, then hit that subscribe button. Anyways, I appreciate you guys watching. I am out. Peace.